everybody, my name's Paul Saunders and welcome to my second video on Solaris Astrology. This time I'm going to be looking at our neighbours just across the English Channel, La Belle France, and in particular their upcoming French elections. To start with a bit of history for you, the French Republic was formed out of revolution, and this began after the storming of the Bastille in Paris on the 14th of July 1789. This led eventually to the abolition of the monarchy, the declaration of a republic of 1530 on the 21st of September 1792, and the beheading of the King Louis XVI at the guillotine. As astrologers, we take that declaration as the beginning of modern France. Okay, let's have a look at the movement of the planets against the French national chart, dated for the 7th of May 2017, the day of the general election. Now, I'm going to bring the cursor down to two planets, to Mercury and to Uranus. Mercury is the planet of communication. It's a planet of decisions, of votes and voting, and also it's the voice of the people, how they speak. And so when we have an election, Mercury is incredibly important to let us know which way things are going. Uranus is an aspect of, or a planet of shocks, of change, of fresh thinking, and of revolution as well. So when this vote happens, people are going to want something different. Now, these two planets are making three separate important aspects. The first one is a square aspect to the ascendant on the French national chart here in Capricorn. And the ascendant on a national chart rules the face of the nation and the way that the nation is seen by others. And so we, as an outsider, will be able to see that France is wanting to make a decision to go in a different direction. Fair enough, I would suppose. Now, these two planets are also making an opposition up to Neptune. Neptune is a planet of idealism, of belief, of spirituality, but also of the collective. And in particular, in mundane astrology, it's ruling socialist values, communism, socialist values. And if you remember, France is currently ruled by President François Fillon, and he is a socialist. So this vote is going against those principles, you can imagine, and the French will want to go in a different direction from the president and the rule that they've had previously. Thirdly, these two planets make an inconjunct aspect, an aspect of change, of separation and adjustment to the midheaven and also to Mars. The midheaven rules the administration of the country, the rulers, the direction that it is ruled. And Mars shows anger and action. And we have anger and action here through a decision to make a change. Now, these two planets are moving in the second house of values, and Neptune rules Pisces and Mars rules Aries, and all three of those influences are affecting this second house of values. French values are changing. Now, how are they changing? Which direction are they changing? Well, an election is connected to administration, so let's have a look at Saturn, the planet of administration, and it's moving in late Sagittarius, and it is making a square aspect. It is also at a pivot point on the French chart. It is connecting through two squares aspects to the south node and the north node. This is the axis of destiny on the chart, where the country has come from, where it is going to. And also Saturn makes a square aspect to the Sun, and the Sun on any chart and any national chart represents the ruler or the leader, or in France's case, the president. So Saturn in Sagittarius, what does that bring us? Well, Saturn is harsh, it's conservative, it's restrictive. In Sagittarius, it's especially hard on those who are different, have a different belief or religion, or those from a different ethnic group or are diverse from the normal people. And this aspect here suggests to me that France is going to be going in a more restrictive, conservative direction. Exactly the same as what has happened in America, where the Republicans have taken over from the Democrats. This picture says to me that France is moving to the right, and that's the direction that will be taken when the people vote on the 7th of May. Now, there are 10 candidates who are vying for the top job in France. However, there are only 3 who have a realistic chance of making it to being president, the 3 highest in the polls at the moment. The first of these is Marine Le Pen, the daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen. She is the leader of the Front National, the ultra-right-wing party, and she's leading in the polls at the moment and seems to be the current favourite. Secondly, we have François Fillon. He's the leader of the Republican Party, more conservative in nature, and he was Prime Minister between 2007 and 2012 under President Nicolas Sarkozy. And finally, we have the rising star of French politics, and that is Emmanuel Macron. He's a former Minister of the Economy and member of the Socialist Party. The Socialists have been fighting and falling apart recently, and so he set up a brand new party called En Marche, or On the Move, which is more left of centre, but trying to bridge the gap between those who have socialist views and those who have more mainstream ones. Okay, let's have a look at these candidates in order. We're going to start off with François Fillon, the Republican candidate. And the first thing I notice on this chart is a conjunction between transiting Neptune and his sun. Now, he's a sun Piscean, and Neptune coming along to sit on his sun, it's there for about a year, is going to bring a shadow of doubt and a cloud over him as a person. Something's not quite right here. When Neptune comes across, it makes you suffer. It brings sacrifices that you have to make. It weakens you as a person. There may be things which you do which are not quite right. Maybe you're naive in some regard to actions that you've done, and therefore once Neptune pulls through, then you actually find out that it's cost you a lot. And this Neptune sitting here on his sun is not helping at all, especially in an election season. Remember, Hillary Clinton had a doubt over her throughout her candidacy for the presidency of the United States. And once you get that perception that you're doing something wrong, it was the email scandal with Hillary, then you don't stand a chance of winning the presidency. And so goes it with Fillon. This Neptune is making a square aspect to Jupiter, the planet of generosity and of excess, and also making a square aspect down to Mars, the planet of actions. And it just so happens in the past few days that Fillon has allegedly been accused of making payments, huge amounts of money, may I say, to his wife for work that she allegedly did not do. Now, whether that's right and whether he's done it or whether he hasn't, that element of doubt is going to hang over him. And this square from Neptune to Mars is significant because, remember, Mars rules Aries, and Aries rules the 7th house of his marriage. Despite being the Republican Party candidate, despite being conservative, despite there being a feeling that a conservative on the French national chart needs to come in, that Saturn square to the Sun and the nodes, then I still think that this Neptune is going to completely stop Fillon from becoming president of France, and I don't think he's going to make it through to May the 7th. Okay, let's go to Emmanuel Macron, the centre-left candidate from En Marche, and this chart is looking much more positive. The transiting North Node, which is normally fortunate in nature, is sitting on top of Macron's Saturn, and that shows to me that his work and ambitions are on the rise. And we've also got transiting Saturn making a lovely trine over to his natal Saturn, so he's doing well. He's taking a step up the ladder as we speak. You know, the Sun hasn't quite hit his Sun and hasn't quite hit Mercury, but I think he's doing okay, and he should be gaining in popularity and authority through this process. We have transiting Pluto making a lovely trine up to his natal Moon, and the Moon rules his 11th house of parties, so he's gaining strength and power within his party and within the public in general. That's really good. But we've got Jupiter as well sitting on Pluto, and again we're seeing a gain in power, a gain in prestige. There's something not quite right, mind you. This nodal axis is square to his midheaven, and that means that the general mood at this time is going against his career ambitions. Also, transiting Chiron, the wounded healer, is making a square to his Sun. So there is a wound here which is being played out. Something is going to hurt him. The square is not only to his Sun but to Mercury as well, so maybe a vote won't go in the right direction this time around. But I don't say that in the future, he's only young anyway, don't say in the future that he won't make it to the top eventually. He's got plenty of opportunities in the future to come. And finally, I move on to Marine Le Pen, the Front National candidate for the election on the 7th of May. So what's happening on her chart? Good things, really good things. Let's go over to look at Jupiter. Lucky Jupiter is sitting absolutely slap bang on her ascendant. It's just about ready to move into her first house, and that is going to expand her life, make her more confident, and she will be connecting with the world as Jupiter goes through this first house. No doubt about it whatsoever. This is an expansionist aspect which is going to really help her as she starts off on a brand new 12-year cycle of life. Secondly, let's move down to Saturn, and Saturn is helping her too. It's making a trine, firstly, up to Venus. Now, Venus rules the sign of Libra. They're connected, and so a trine up to her chart ruling Venus is a really positive thing. Secondly, this Saturn is also making a trine to her natal Saturn. And like Emmanuel Macron, she is moving up the ladder as well. She's gaining in power and authority. And Uranus is sitting here too. So her work, her ambitions, her worldly progress is changing here. We're taking on a fresh impetus. What's the impetus? It's through a decision. It's through a vote. We've got Mercury and Uranus here, and this takes us all the way back to the very start of this report that I highlighted earlier on. I'll move on to Pluto, and this is very significant as well because Pluto is sitting bang on an angle as Jupiter is sitting on an angle. So things are changing for her radically. This angle here, the 4th house cusp, represents home and family. It also means that Pluto is opposing the top of her chart, and this is the point of career, the midheaven. Pluto is changing her domestic situation, her family situation, and also her career as well. He is empowering her, and he's changing her life forever. I think that this Pluto signifies that she will be moving house into the Élysée Palace, and I think she's going to be becoming President of France under all this. sometimes things sort of stick out straight for you, in front of you, and these aspects all coming together at the same time, at the time of election, meaning that she is going to be at the height of her powers and moving onwards and upwards. I think that Marine Le Pen, the far right candidate, is going to be the next president of France, and France, as the astrology suggests earlier on, is going to take a very sharp turn to the right. So it looks as if Marine Le Pen is going to be the winner of the election, according to my astrology at least, and we shall see in May if I'm right. If you're interested in any of my work, then please get in touch with me. You'll find the details on the credits as we roll out, and I hope you'll join me next time when we look at a completely different subject in astrology. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.